Hello all, we are here for one more lesson of this 4MCAD training course, and the topic for the lesson will be create complex entities. So we have several types of what we can call the complex entities, and among them we have the polylines, and I'm including in these polylines the rectangles and the polygons. Besides, we have splines and we have the donuts. So starting with the rectangles. So draw menu, then you have a specific function, and this is rectangle. The rectangle, you have a lot of possibilities, but basically the simplest one, it is click one point and then you click a second point, or you give the distance between the first and the second one, or the diagonal points. Okay, so click it and you have one rectangle done. You can make this rectangle also with options. So you have a lot of options that you can see down here: chamfer, elevation, or fillets, or rotate it, or square. So for example, square, just say S, and now click and you see that it makes a square where the second point will define the length of the side and the direction. Another interesting option inside the rectangle, it is, for example, say fillet, and then you say radius of 3, for example. Now you make a rectangle and you have the rounded corners. So you have a lot of options with this rectangle, but besides the option you choose, the important thing to notice is that this will become only one entity. So I've picked in one of the sides and you see that all the rectangle is selected. So this is one single entity and it is called a polyline. A polyline, it is a connected sequence of arcs and or lines that are treated as one single entity. It's the case of this rectangle. I will come back to this topic on the polylines when I speak about the polylines. So this is rectangle. Besides the rectangle, we have one other command that is called the polygon, and the polygon has several options to make this polygon. In here you can make equal length side object from minimum of 3 sides to 1024 sides. So the first option, polygon center vertex, first you give the sides, I will say for example 6, give it the center, and now you see the second point, it's in one of the vertices, and the distance between the center and this vertex defines the size of the element you are drawing. Another possibility, it is to make center side. Again, number of sides 6 again, center, and now you see the distance is not for the vertex but for the middle point of one of the edges. Okay, finally polygon and edge, so center, number of sides, first end point of an edge here, and the second point will define the size, knowing that this object has equal length in all of the sides. So now we have the polylines. I will clean this rectangle. So draw polyline. And the polyline, as I said, it is a sequence of arcs and lines or whatever you want to draw. So one point, another point, and if you continue, this is the same entity. It's not a sequence of lines, it's the same entity. But when you are creating one polyline, the advantage it is that you can mix things here. So you've done 2 lines. Now I want to create 1 arc, so I have to choose the arc option, so A, and now I'm creating an arc, and you have all these possibilities on the command bar to choose options to create this arc. So I can create 1 arc, another arc, and now I can go back, because I have one of the options is a line. I can go back to line, and I continue to create the same entity. I have possibilities also to create through a distance, for example D, and now you see that if I choose one distance, for example 20, now it is fixed in 20 and I only can choose the angle. Okay, and continuing. I can choose also the thickness of the polyline. Okay, let me continue for here. I can choose the thickness, for example half wide or wide, for example 1 for 2, and you see the thickness will change. Okay, now it remains constant because it ended in 2, and we can play with this in many things, as we can go back only one entity, doing undo and undo, and we have this possibility to take some of the parts of the entity out. And I can do a closed polyline, doing the close option and close it. So again, as the rectangle, if I click it, it reacts as one single entity. And one of the interesting parts of these polylines, because either the rectangle or the polygon or this command here, all of them are polylines. But I can do something that I call explode, so modify, explode, and the explode, it will simplify this complex entity. So if I do the explode here and confirm, now you can see that it's a kind of a split of a complex entity in simple entities, arcs and lines. The next group of complex entities, it is one called the spline. Spline, it's a really complex entity, mathematically speaking, because creating a spline is quite easy. So you just have to create control points, okay, and you can close it also, but you create points where the spline will go through these points. You can choose one fit tolerance also, if you say fit, and on this fit tolerance you define the distance that the system can have between the control points and the spline itself. So for example, if I say 10, then you can have this more or less on the entities. Okay, so now and that's it. Okay, finally we have the donuts, and the donuts are quite easy to show, because basically you need to give, you have several methods, because donut in fact it is a circle, but is a more complex circle. So you just have to give the inside diameter, I can say for example 20, and the outside 30, and now give it a center. The special feature the donut entity has is the system will fill between the two diameters. Okay, these are the complex entities I had planned to speak you about. I hope all these points and examples were clear enough so that you can start using them.